call for closing four of our high schools: Conewagan, St. Hubert's, Bonner Prenti, and West Catholic. Today, I want to announce that all four of these high schools will remain open.
What a great day. What a great day. The weather held out for us. I was able to think walking down here yesterday in the rain. So we have to thank the Lord for making this such a perfect day to march down. I need to thank all of you for joining us this morning. St. Francis reminds us to begin by doing what's necessary, then turn to the possible, and soon you'll find yourself doing the impossible. I don't think I could have found any quote more appropriate for the last year of activity here at St. Hubert. On January 6th last year, you began by doing what was necessary. You were resolved to save this school. And since that point, so many people have come from so many different areas to join you in that effort. Alumni who had not been engaged, re-engaged, committed themselves to making sure that this school was open and would continue to be open into the future. Business leaders, politicians stepped up and made sure that St. Hubert would have a legacy to continue to build on. In August, I had the unique opportunity of being approached to join this community, and I am so glad that I did. The welcoming that the girls provided me was heartwarming and took almost all the words I'm speechless about it still today. And I want to thank you ladies for that. I know it's been an adjustment for you, for the faculty, for the staff, for the community, for the people that I've had the opportunity to meet in the last few months. And I want to thank you so much for all the opportunities that you gave me in supporting me in making sure that we continue to move forward. So while we began with what was necessary, then we began to dream about what was possible. And we made plans for the future and continue to make plans for the future. We saved the school, but now we're challenged to sustain the school. And then we begin to think about the impossible. Not just saving the school, not sustaining the school, but growing the school. Something that no one thought was going to happen. And I am proud to stand here today to tell you that for next year's freshman class, we have more girls registered than any other school in the diocese. We have 146 girls registered for next September. How many of you are happy about that? But I'm not as excited as you. I'll be excited when I see it cross the 200 number. Amen. How many of you are willing to work to make that happen? How many of you are willing to work to make that happen? We can do that. Something that was said to be impossible a year ago. That there was no way that St. Hubert would ever have a freshman class of 200 again, is something that's now within our sights. If we continue to work hard, if we continue to spread the good news of what we're doing here in Northeast Philadelphia, what we're doing here in St. Hubert, and the value of all-girl education, Catholic education here at St. Hubert, we're going to easily make that 200 number. And we're going to show all the people who said that it was impossible that it really was possible. So, I want to thank you for joining us today. There are a couple other people I'd like to introduce that were so instrumental in terms of us being here today that I thought it appropriate to give them an opportunity to say a few words to you. Mrs. Craig, our principal.
truly blessed and grateful to be here. Last year, during our appeal, we showed the outstanding programs that we had. This year, we added many new programs, and we're on pace to add 7 new programs for next year. So we have a bright future. We are building on our outstanding legacy, and there's just no stopping us. So we are very blessed to be here and grateful. We want to thank everyone, and we want to show you that we are going to an amazing future. Thank you very much.
One of the keys to that growth that Mrs. Craig talks about is developing a student body that's diverse enough and academically capable enough to really represent this school well. I'm pleased to announce that out of the 33 scholarships that we offered, academic scholarships, 27 young women chose to accept those scholarships and will join us in September. That's one of the key pieces that will help us continue to raise our profile. And I have to thank all the young ladies behind me for that. It's the academic excellence that you show each day here in this school that allows us to gain the reputation to compete with any other school in the Philadelphia area. So I thank you, ladies, for that. Part of what makes that happen is also the contribution of alumni and friends who contribute to our scholarship funds. The faculty scholarship fund is higher than it's been in years, and I have to give the faculty a hand. They've been working tirelessly at building that. And that's a key point in letting us raise those funds that enable us to give the scholarship money that we need to attract some of the best students in the Philadelphia area. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention at this point the Foch Board. Marie Gallagher and the other 8 members of the Foch Board who have served so tirelessly in terms of raising other funds that will enable us to move forward. They, along with the Alumni Association, were the spearhead that saved St. Hubert from financial point. Many of them are gathered here with us today, and I want to thank them for all their service. The school has also gone to great strides in terms of expanding our advisory board. And I'd like to invite Kathy Ott-Lovell to join us and share some words about the advisory board and also her vision for us moving forward as a St. Hubert community.
Thank you, everybody. It's so great to be here today. It's really incredible how far we've come over the last year. I want to begin by acknowledging some important people who are here with us today. First and foremost, as Frank mentioned, the St. Hubert Advisory Board. We have so many board members here, board members of the Friends of St. Hubert that works hand in hand with the Advisory Board. If the Advisory Board members could please raise their hands. Who was a hero and mentor to me as a young student, Joanne Walls. Many times throughout this process last year, I said that the first place I was ever told I could be a leader was right here at St. Hubert's. And the person that told me that was Joanne Walls. Incredible role model for the young women here at St. Hubert. She was the first lay principal of this school, and she happened to begin my freshman year at St. Hubert. So I'm just incredibly grateful to her for being here and for serving on our board of directors. So thank you very much for doing it. I also want to acknowledge some elected officials who were incredible heroes and champions of our cause a year ago and who remain heroes and champions of St. Hubert today. Representative John Taylor. That raised tens of thousands of dollars for our cause, and we thank him. Money he should have raised for his own campaign that he raised for our cause, and we're incredibly grateful to him. I want to acknowledge Councilman Bobby Keenan, Lisa Dealey's here, one of our own babies. And lastly, Representative Kevin Boyd. beloved St. Hubert was saved. We all remember where we were on January 6, 2002, just 51 days prior, when we first learned of St. Hubert's impending closure. When we heard that news on that devastating day, we were overwhelmed with sadness and disbelief. But we turned our sadness and anger into resolve. We rallied and we rose up. Armed with knowledge and with truth and the fire and courage of youth, we became a force which galvanized an entire community. Hundreds of donations poured in daily, over 20 fundraisers were held, thousands of sweatshirts were sold, children donated their piggy banks, over 6,000 of us made contributions to this cause, and over $1 million was raised. Was not a dying school, and we became the public face of change for Catholic education in our city. 1 year ago, we vowed never to forget the devastation of January 6th. We pledged to carry it with us daily, and we promised to never, ever let it happen again. That positive momentum continued when we welcomed new school leaders this past summer. When the Faith in the Future Foundation, the heroes that truly saved the Catholic high schools, took over the management of the Archdiocesan secondary school system. As we rebuild our school, we have champions alongside us who are working to rebuild an entire school system. And we remain poised for continued success with the young women registered for our class of 2017, again, more than any other girls' high school. We all gave our word to never ever take our beloved St. Hubert for granted again. And today, I am asking each of you to keep that promise. We must continue to work as though each day is our last, with the understanding that January 6th can and will happen again if we do not. 2,000 letters are in the mail as I speak, on their way to 2,000 people, some of you, who made donations to the St. Hubert's campaign but have not yet made their donation yet this year. We need everyone to hold feet to the fire and raise funds for St. Hubert's. It is it remains the one and only way that we can ensure the long-term viability of this school. How many people are going to make their donation to St. Hubert's this year? www.huberts.org or walk your check right into this office. Right? We will never, ever be done saving our school. This will never, ever be over. We must continue to fight with our love and our pride and our belief in the Bambi spirit. Because this is not a dying school. It never was, and it never will be. Thank you.
Kathy, thank you. I do need to make a public acknowledgement at this point of the advisory board and the FOSS board. When I began this whole process, the debt to the diocese that was presented to us was around $500,000. We said that we owed the diocese in order for this school to continue. Through the diligent work of that advisory board and the FOSS board, we were able to bring that down to $180,000. And through their hard work and efforts, we were able to wipe that debt away. And at this point, we have a clean slate and have nothing but moving forward. The best part about that news, that means everything that we do, every effort that we make from here forward goes to support Hubert moving forward, goes to support St. Hubert in the future, goes to support the girls and the education that we can provide them here in Northeast Philadelphia. That's what excites me, that I don't have to worry about the past anymore. All we need to worry about is our future. And that's really due to the dedication and service of all of you, all the pennies that were collected and put in a jar, all the checks that were written, all the fundraisers that were attended, all the beers that were drank at different places. But that's what made the difference. That we were the most grassroots-oriented program of all the schools that were saved. And we continue to use that as our strength. What makes a difference for us is the 10, the 20, the 25, the $30 commitments from people who that's what they can afford. And what Kathy and I need to ask, though, is if you gave 10 and you can afford 15, that this year you give 15. If you gave 15 and you can afford 20, that this year you give 20. Because that's what we need to move forward. And now you have the security of knowing that St. Hubert is going to be here. And that's an important thing for a lot of people. I know many stood on the fence about giving to St. Hubert because they thought it might not have a future. I'm here to tell you today, St. Hubert has a strong future, and we still need you. We need you more than that. It is now my great pleasure to introduce the president of our student council, Claire Almine.
Pale yellow button-up shirt with the SH on the collar, brown jumper adorned with ribbons, buttons, and a sash, brown sweater with the school seal over my heart, brown stockings, and size 7 brown Eastlands. Every school day for the past 4 years, I've spent my time at St. Hubert Catholic High School for Girls, where I wear this uniform with pride and tradition. Last year, when the announcement was made that our school was slated for closure, I didn't know what other school I would have to attend. I didn't know what other uniform I would have to wear. But if there was one thing I knew from the start, it was this: I was not alone. Through tear-filled eyes, we sang our alma mater, hand in hand in our auditorium, fearful of what the future now had in store for us. It soon set in, however, that St. Hubert Catholic High School for Girls is more than a dollar sign. It's more than just a number, a school, or a building. St. Hubert Catholic High School is a home to 71 years of tradition and excellence, educating women of faith and integrity, and it's a home worth fighting for. Our family banded together. Our community stopped at nothing to go above and beyond to put up a fight. From our sisters who walked in brown jumpers back when they were blue, to our little sisters whose brown jumpers await them until the year 2020. Everyone in our St. Hubert family impacted our school in a way that will never be forgotten. We gather on these steps for the same reason we did 1 year ago today. 365 days ago, we stood on these steps where everything began. The rallies, the marches, the press conferences, and it is because of all of us that I stand here today in a pale yellow button-up shirt with the SH on the collar, brown jumper adorned with ribbons, buttons, and a sash, brown sweater with the school seal over my heart, brown stockings, and size 7 brown Eastlands. I stand here among my 663 sisters in uniform because what started out as our worst nightmare turned into a dream come true. From the bottom of our hearts, we would like to thank our parents and families, businesses, neighbors, and our community, politicians, and especially our advisory board for making our dream come true. We will always remember what you've done for us and what we accomplished together both now and in the future, because as we all know, once a baby, always a baby. Thank you.
So you're seeing the theme of today: celebration, challenge, commitment. We began by doing what was necessary. We then turned to what's possible, and now we're doing the impossible. As a Catholic community, we're also privileged to have the opportunity to celebrate this as a community with liturgy. And that's where we'll go after this. We'll all march through these hallowed halls. We'll go down to the auditorium, and we'll join in a Thanksgiving liturgy for St. Hubert. The St. Hubert of the past, the St. Hubert of the present, and the St. Hubert of the future. I'd like to thank Dave Schaefer, Rich D'Ambrosio, Anne-Marie Zamblak for organizing their parts of today. I'd like to thank you for attending and for your commitment to St. Hubert. I'm just awestruck at all the efforts that go forth every day to make this a better place. For our middle state self-study, we chose excellence by design. We've talked a lot about that over the last year. And I've come to really appreciate this school as one which is excellent by design. And I'm very pleased to share with you that the committee that was here as our validators, will give a recommendation to the Middle States Board that we be fully reaccredited for the next 7 years. And that's exciting news. But your applause just isn't for that announcement. Your applause should be for all the dedicated people here every day. The young ladies that enter this door every day, the faculty who I am just amazed at each day in terms of all the efforts that they put forth above and beyond anything they're required to do or even asked to do. The staff, the religious communities that serve us, our advisory boards, our friends, our local businesses that support us. I am just amazed each day. And it's through them that I've truly come to know us to be excellent by design. So I now ask you to join me as we enter through these doors once again. We'll go down to the auditorium where we'll have our liturgy of Thanksgiving. Again, thank you for coming today. This truly is a day of celebration, challenge, and commitment.